Hello, and thank you for being here. I want to talk today about parents that are really tough. You might say they're terrible parents, but you could say that all parents are terrible at one point or another. So today I want to talk about how do we love our terrible parents and finally find the freedom within ourselves to live our lives without the weight of hating our parents, keeping our parents at a distance, letting them go, all the ways that we distance ourselves from our parents. How do we get through that to a place of actual love and compassion for who our parents were, and to release all of that energy that we have in us to move towards our lives. So that's what I want to talk about today. Hi everyone, it's Ann O'Connor from Metamorphics, where we help you become who you want to be. And today is a really difficult subject. If you are a parent and you want to hear more about how to love your impossible kid, you can look at yesterday's video on my Facebook page, Metamorphics at Ann O'Connor. And I'll be posting these on YouTube as well. So thank you for being here. And this is tricky business, right? So let me just say right off the bat here that your relationship with your parents is individual and unique, and it's possible that everything I'm about to say has nothing to do with you. But as you are a human being, and we human beings tend to run in particular patterns, it's likely that some of the things that I'm going to talk about today are things that you have experienced with your own parent. And particularly if you've had a lot of conflict, if things have been tough, if maybe they haven't been tough, but they haven't been close either. And maybe you just kind of coexist in a way that isn't really warm or affectionate or caring, loving, but you sort of keep your distance, right? There's all kinds of ways that we have learned to manage the relationship of our parents. And there's a reason for that, right? Our parents, our mothers, our fathers, our caretakers, whoever they are, the people who raise us, the people who have, maybe that's a grandparent or a step-parent for you. Maybe that's that primary relationship is not a blood relative. Whatever it is, it's somebody who has taken on that role of parent for you, and that person becomes huge in your life. So no matter if we feel like, I'm done with that. I can't be around that person because they're so this or they're so that. Here's why this is so important. Whoever you are now today, you are in part the patterns, the ideas, the shaping, and the molding of that actual parent, and maybe two. Now, I know a lot of us, I certainly did this for a while, where I said, no, actually, I'm not going to be anything like that parent. And I remember one of the great trainings I got, this came from the Hoffman process, and this was this concept of the ways that we deal with our dysfunction and our relationships with our parents is one of three ways. And one of the things that we do is we actually fall into the exact same patterns that our parents modeled for us, right? And I don't know about you, but I've seen that for sure in myself. Both my mom and my dad show up all the time in the things that I say and the things that I do. And the more conscious I can be about it, the more choice I have around whether I want to model what they modeled, whether I want to be that person. The second way that we deal with dysfunction in our family is we say, nope, not for me. That's you, that's not me, and I'll have none of that. And so we actually work to do the exact opposite of what our parents modeled and demonstrated and showed us and tried to instill in us, either consciously or not. And so sometimes that energy is as corrosive and as difficult as the dysfunction straight on, because you're spending all this energy and this time trying to say, nope, I am not like that. Nope, I am not like that. And so that's not actual acceptance and compassion for a way of being in the world. And so that also is a use of energy that doesn't really work in our lives. We get kind of caught up. So the third way that we manage the dysfunction in our relationships with our parents is we partner with somebody who has the same dysfunction, but it's not us, it's our partner. So we can actually criticize our partner. We can say, hey, I married my dad, right? I married my mom, how did I end up in this relationship? It's just like my parents, right? These are all the things that we do. So we model and we do exactly what our parents do. We work really hard to do exactly the opposite of what our parents do. Or we tend to find a partner who is going to have a lot of the same behaviors and patterns of the dysfunction of our parents. And then we have that same push, pull, challenge, difficulty with our partner. And you know what? I got to tell you, this actually works in a lot of ways in our lives. For me, what I've noticed is that people tend to also do this with bosses. It's not just our romantic relationships that we're talking about. And so this way of being raised, the dysfunction that happens in how we were raised plays out into all the areas of our lives. It's about how we work, about how we partner with people, about how we have other kinds of relationships with people. It's about how we make sense of who we are in the world. Now, we can either do that consciously, or we can go through life without recognizing the patterns and the ways that we are in the world and what kind of impact they're having on our lives, our happiness, our contentedness, our ability to stay steady, or we can start to sort of look at what we're doing and why we're doing it. And when I say, this is how to love your terrible parent, what I'm saying is not that you would excuse bad behavior, but that at some point you start to understand that your parent is another person on the planet. And one of the things that is true about people on the planet is that we just all have a lot of challenges, and some of them much more deeply than others, right? So that could be true in your situation. But one of the things I hear a lot from kids is that their parents have a really hard time letting go of them, letting them be adults, letting them make their own decisions, understanding that they're different people than their parents. And so today, since I'm talking to the kids of parents, and you might be both, right? Like you might be the adult child of parents who I've had to manage my relationships with that and figure out how do I fit and what do I want and how do I make that happen. And you might be the adult child who doesn't have kids of your own yet, but you might have your own kids, and you might be thinking, wow, okay, I have these kids. How can I change this pattern? How can I do it differently than my parents so that I can be more present for them, more there for them, more supportive of them, so that they can be who they want to be? And I want to go back to this idea because children, whatever age you're at, want their parents to allow them to be who they are. But today, I want to talk to the children. And I'm using that to the kids, right? The children of the adults. You may be an adult, but I want to talk to you as the child, because I want to say, if you're spending so much time thinking about how you want your parent to let you be who you are, I want to ask you a question. Do you let your parent be who they are? Do you allow them the compassion that you're asking for? Do you allow them the understanding that you're seeking? Do you give them the respect that you wish you had from them? So I know that sometimes these dynamics in these relationships are very challenging, and these are really important questions for us, because one of the things that happens as we mature into adults is that sometimes our relationship with our parents is one of those things that we hang on to where we're still kids. Like we want it to be our way, and we want them to give us what we want, and we want them to be who we need them to be, right? And that's it's so natural. It's so, especially if you didn't get what you needed as a kid, and many of us don't, we keep coming back to some hope. Even if you've stomped on that hope, even if you said, no way, I'm done, even if you like let it go, I'm not going to deal with this anymore, I'm not going to get my hopes up anymore, there's some part of us that remains hopeful, that our parents will come to us and they will embrace us and they will love us and they will care for us. No matter how old you are, there's something about that parent love that we all need. And so the one thing that I know is that not all parents are able to give that love and that care and that respect. And as the children of parents, we have to learn that this is another human being on the planet, and they've probably done the best that they could do. And even when that's not good enough for you, and a lot of times it's not, a lot of times we don't get what we need as children from our parents. The thing that we have to decide is, can we love them anyway? Can we love them anyway? Because a lot of times that's what a kid is looking for from a parent is, can you love me anyway? Even though we don't agree about religion, even though you do this stupid thing every time I talk to you, even though, you completely criticize my life, can you love me anyway? And so for us as children, we have to look at our parents and say, okay, flawed human being who drives me crazy, can I love you anyway? Now, let me clarify something about love. First of all, love isn't enough, right? It's just not. Ever in any situation, in any dynamic, in any relationship, love isn't enough. But it is pretty primary when it comes to allowing people to be who they are. And I'm not excusing bad behavior. Love doesn't mean not setting boundaries. Love doesn't mean allowing people to treat you badly. Love doesn't mean putting yourself in situations that are dysfunctional and wrong. For me, what love means in this context is that you can say, all right, my parent who is so deeply within me, I'm going to decide to love you despite the fact that you're all these things. You're all these things that are hard for me and that I don't like and they're kind of yucky. But you are here on the planet and you have done the best that you can do. You've done the best that you can do given the circumstances that you've had, given your willingness to learn new things. Whatever it is that your parent struggles with, those struggles are real for them. And they are another person. And as much as children really wish and really demand that our parents would let us be who we are, sometimes we don't look the other way. Sometimes we don't look back at our parents and realize we're not allowing them to be who they are either. The other thing that I would say about this is, I'm building some work around this and I'm really excited to share it with you all soon. But one of the things that I see over and over again is that children, particularly, when they walk away from a relationship with a parent, they kind of throw up their hands and say, okay, forget it. And when a child does that, very often the parent follows suit. And so I said yesterday when I was talking to the parents, and you can go back and watch that video if you are a parent and you need to understand why your kid hates you. You can go back and look at that video. But today, when I'm talking to the children, I want to say, give what you're asking for. Give what you're asking for. If you want to be forgiven, if you want to be respected, if you want to be seen, if you want to be accepted, then try giving that in your relationship with your kid. Stop telling them what to do. Try to stop propping them up and making them how you feel like they ought to be. And if that means that they fall on their face, wait a minute, I slipped back into parenting, think of that. Then they fall on their face. And our parents fall on our faces too. Sometimes as a parent, often parents fall on their faces. They fail. They don't know exactly how to do things. And so as we become adults, as the children of these parents who don't always know how to do things, we can start to say, oh, okay, this person who drives me crazy, this person who has, caused so much hardship for me, they're just a person. And that's one of the real maturings that you can start to recognize in yourself. If you're like, oh my God, this whole time I'm expecting this other person to be someone that they're not. And when we can start to allow that, when we can start to say, oh my gosh, my parent has done the best that they could do. They've tried so hard and they got it all wrong. Or they got this huge piece wrong. Or this part really hurt me. It doesn't mean that you got what you needed. You're not giving up any right to be angry and pissed off and upset and hurt and to feel frustrated that you didn't get what you needed. But the context is many, 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 many of us didn't get what we needed from our parents. And so we have to find those ways to allow our parents to be okay despite that, so that we can be okay and we don't have to continue the patterns that don't work in our families. So you all, I hope that you can resonate with this. Let me know if this is what you experience in your own life. Let me know if there's something different that you experience in your life. I appreciate you being here. Like I said, I'm putting together some work around this subject. I'm super excited to share it with you soon. So keep watching these live videos and letting me know what you think. I am Ann O'Connor from Metamorphics, and I am signing off today. So enjoy your day and go out there and love your people despite their flawedness, despite their inability to be who we need them to be. All right. Bye, you all.